I'm standing in line at 7-Eleven last week, and this guy in front of me is getting visibly frustrated. The cashier doesn't understand his English, so he starts raising his voice, gesturing wildly, pointing at his phone like she's stupid. Every Thai person in that store is watching in uncomfortable silence. I felt embarrassed for him, not because he was confused, we've all been there, but because he had no idea he was becoming that guy, the one locals talk about after he leaves, the one who thinks Thailand should bend to him instead of the other way around. Look, Thailand doesn't hand you a rule book when you step off the plane, but there are invisible lines that separate guys who build a life here from guys who burn bridges without knowing it. These aren't the kind of rules you'll find in travel blogs or expat forums. These are the invisible codes that quietly decide whether you'll be welcomed into Thai culture or politely pushed to the margins. I've learned these lessons the hard way, through personal mistakes, and by watching good men lose relationships, respect, and opportunities they didn't even know they were risking. I've been here long enough to mess up, reflect, and see the patterns clearly. And if you ignore these rules, you'll make your life in Thailand a lot harder than it needs to be. Rule 1. Never make Thai people lose face in public. Here's what happened to me at a restaurant in Chiang Mai. Waitress brings me pad Thai, but it's clearly pad see ew. Old me would have called her over, pointed at the wrong dish, made her acknowledge the mistake in front of other customers. Instead, I caught her eye, smiled, and quietly said, "Excuse me, could I get pad Thai when you have a moment?" She fixed it immediately. No drama, no embarrassment. Here's the thing. Face saving isn't just politeness here, it's survival. When you correct someone publicly, you're not just pointing out an error, you're attacking their dignity in front of their community. Handle mistakes privately with gentle humor or not at all. The moment you make someone lose face in public, you've created an enemy you didn't need to have. But here's where most Western guys get confused. Rule 2. Stop overthinking everything. I used to say, Kob kun crab for everything. Cashier hands me change. Kob kun crab. Taxi driver opens the door. Kob kun crab. Guy holds an elevator. Kob kun crab. By week 3, I was thanking doorknobs and ceiling fans. My Thai friend finally pulled me aside and said, "You sound like a robot." Thai people thank less frequently, but more meaningfully. They save gratitude for moments that actually matter. When you overthank, you dilute the impact and sound like you're trying too hard to be liked. Watch how locals interact. They acknowledge service with a nod, a smile, direct eye contact. Sometimes silence is more respectful than empty words. I spent 2 years thanking my way through Thailand until I realized authentic connection isn't built on constant gratitude. It's built on genuine presence and mutual respect. Most guys think more gratitude equals more respect. Dead wrong. Rule 3, your body language has a hierarchy here. It's not just don't touch heads, though that's serious. Your entire posture communicates status and respect in ways you've never thought about. I learned this during a temple festival when I was sitting cross-legged, feet pointed toward the Buddha statue. An elderly Thai man gently touched my shoulder and repositioned my legs. No words, no judgment, just quiet correction. The body speaks before your mouth opens, and Thai people are reading every signal. How you sit, where you point, the height of your hands when you weigh, whether you're looking down at someone or meeting their eyes. Your feet are the lowest, dirtiest part of your body. Your head is sacred. Everything in between follows a hierarchy that most foreigners never learn. Here's what I wish someone had told me. Observe before you act. Watch how Thai people position themselves around monks, elders, authority figures. Mirror that respect. The subtlety of showing respect through posture will earn you more credibility than perfect Thai language ever will. Speaking of respect, here's one that completely blindsided me. Rule 4, don't always Y back. This sounds backwards, right? But overweighing service workers can actually make them uncomfortable. When a 7-Eleven cashier weighs me, she's showing professional courtesy. If I Y back with the same formality, I'm either misunderstanding the power dynamic or making her job harder. A slight nod, a smile, sometimes just acknowledging the gesture is enough. Save the formal why for people your age or older, for teachers, for moments of genuine gratitude. I spent months weighing everyone until I noticed the awkward pauses, the confused looks. Turns out, reciprocating every why can create weird social tension instead of building rapport. The key is reading the room. Is this person showing respect they expect returned, or professional courtesy that just needs acknowledgement? When you overweigh, you're not being extra respectful. You're showing you don't understand the social framework you're operating in. But here's where it gets really tricky. Rule 5, your money doesn't make you special, but how you spend it does. Look, I've seen guys roll up to street vendors flashing 1,000 baht notes, expecting to be treated like royalty. They get their food and leave, wondering why they don't get the same warm treatment as the Thai regular next to them. Here's what they're missing. Thai culture values long-term relationships over one-time big spenders. The vendor who gives me extra spring rolls, I've been buying from her for 2 years. I know her daughter's name, ask about her business, show up consistently. She makes less profit from me per visit than from tourists, but I'm an investment in her stability. It's not about being cheap. It's about being relational instead of transactional. The difference between seeing people as service providers versus seeing them as human beings you're building connections with, that mindset shift changes everything. Suddenly, you're not just another foreigner passing through. You're part of the community, which brings me to something that took me way too long to figure out. Rule 6, master the art of indirect communication. You ever walk into a room and feel like everyone's watching you, but no one's saying a word? In Thailand, that's not paranoia, that's feedback. Western directness can feel aggressive and rude here. I used to think Thai people were being dishonest when they said maybe instead of no. Turns out I was being culturally deaf. Maybe means no. It's difficult means no. We'll see means no. Learning to read between these lines isn't about decoding lies. It's about respecting face-saving communication. When someone can't or won't do something, giving them an indirect way to decline preserves everyone's dignity. Pushing for direct answers forces confrontation that nobody wants. I learned this the hard way when trying to rent an apartment. Owner kept saying maybe possible for weeks. I kept pushing for a clear yes or no. Finally, a Thai friend translated, he doesn't want to rent to you, but he's trying to let you down gently. Once I learned to listen for indirect communication, my relationships got smoother, my business dealings became clearer, and I stopped creating unnecessary tension. Here's the thing about time in Thailand. Rule 7, don't rush Thai time, but understand when to push. My pen rye isn't laziness, but it's not an excuse for everything either. When my furniture delivery was 3 hours late, I almost lost it. Western me wanted to call, complain, demand explanations. But my Thai neighbor said, did they cancel? Did they say they're not coming? Number, then they're coming. Thai time operates on relationship maintenance, not clock precision. Fighting it creates stress for everyone and solves nothing. But here's the nuance most guys miss. There are times when Western urgency is actually needed. Visa deadlines, hospital appointments, legal meetings. These don't bend to my pen rye culture. The skill is knowing when to flow with Thai time and when to respectfully assert Western timing. It's not about being pushy, it's about understanding context. After 4 years here, I've learned to plan for Thai time while building buffers for situations where time actually matters. This balance has saved me frustration and preserved relationships. Now, here's something that could literally destroy your life if you get it wrong. Rule 8. There are topics where silence isn't golden, it's survival. I'm not going to name specifics, but there are subjects in Thailand where even innocent comments can have serious consequences. Historical discussions, comparisons, jokes that seem harmless in Western contexts. I know a guy who made what he thought was a casual observation about monarchy systems in general, not even specific to Thailand. 3 days later, he was having very uncomfortable conversations with people he didn't want to meet. This isn't about politics or personal beliefs. This is about not destroying your life over a comment you thought was harmless. The smart play? Listen more than you speak on sensitive topics. When conversations go certain directions, find something else to talk about. Your opinions aren't worth your freedom. Your freedom isn't worth proving a point. Moving to something more subtle, but equally important. Rule 9. Learn when to lose and when not to. Sometimes backing down preserves relationships. Sometimes it invites exploitation. The trick is knowing which situation you're in. When a taxi driver takes the long route, arguing might cost you more than the extra fare. When a landlord tries to change rental terms mid-lease, standing firm might be necessary. I've watched guys get walked over because they thought being accommodating meant never setting boundaries. I've also seen guys create enemies by fighting every small battle. The question I ask myself, is this about respect or money? Is this a misunderstanding or manipulation? Will backing down here make future interactions easier or harder? Some guys never learn to pick their battles. They end up broke, bitter, or both. The men who thrive here understand that strategic flexibility isn't weakness, it's cultural intelligence, which leads to the most important rule of all. Rule 10. You're building a reputation whether you know it or not. Thailand's expat and local communities are smaller than you think. The way you handle yourself in year one affects your opportunities in year five. Every interaction is an investment or a debt. The guy who yells at service workers becomes known as difficult. The man who shows consistent respect builds social capital that opens doors later. I wish someone had told me this earlier. Your reputation precedes you here. Word travels fast, relationships are interconnected, and second chances are rarer than you think. The foreigner who's welcomed into Thai family gatherings, he earned that through consistent behavior over time. The guy who struggles to find decent housing or fair prices, he probably burned bridges he didn't know he was standing on. This isn't about being fake or walking on eggshells. It's about understanding that every choice you make is building the life you'll live here. You're not just visiting Thailand, you're becoming a part of it, whether you realize it or not. Look, none of us are perfect. I still slip up on these unwritten rules from time to time. The difference is, I'm paying attention now. The guys who thrive here long term, they're not always the smartest or the richest. They're the ones who stay humble, observe quietly, and adapt, even when they don't fully get the why. Thailand will teach you if you let it, but it won't cater to your Western expectations. And if you're sitting there thinking, this doesn't apply to me, you might already be that foreigner. If you've seen these mistakes or made a few yourself, drop a comment below. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more real talk about life in Thailand, and share this with someone who needs the wake-up call. Peace.